work group versus domain model. So there is difference. So when we use workgroup and when we use domain, so let's say you have a net cafe or very a small industry or very limited set of machine you have, and you want to connect those machines each other. In that case, you will use workgroup model.
Okay.
And there is difference in workgroup model and domain model. Lots of difference in workgroup model and domain model, because in domain you will need a server to install the Active Directory, and using Active Directory we can manage the users and computers. Users means all the users who will log in into the network, and computers means all the computers and others network resources like printer, the mobile, all we will able to manage through centralized using Active Directory in domain model, but not in workgroup.
Okay.
So this is the diagram of the workgroup where you can see this is switch, the what I call this switch or hub. Mainly now we are not using hub. There is different kind of method which used in hub, and this is switch. So using this switch, all machine will be connect together. I mean, this PC will able to talk to this PC will able to talk to this PC. So each of these devices are interconnected, and they would able to share the files, folders, anything, but not the users. If I want to create a user on this machine, I need to sit on this machine and I need to log in into the Windows with the administrator access, and I would able to create a user. Same for all computer. I need to visit each and every computer to create a user or install application, because this is in workgroup model. This is not centralized.
Okay.
In the domain model, these are centralized. I can create a user, or the settings or anything, or I can able to manage a whole network from the single this server using this Active Directory server. So this is Active Directory service. Also, that is called domain controller.
Okay.
So what is difference in workgroup and domain? Workgroup model, no server is required. You really don't have to need Windows Server operating system to manage workgroup. No, not needed. User accounts are required on every machine. So you need to visit each and every machine to create a user. You will not able to create a user centrally. Domain model. A server called a domain controller is required. In domain model, we need a server, any operating system, meaning Windows 2016 or 19 or 2022, any of the server needed to make a domain controller. If you
Okay.
have a server but you have not enabled the Active Directory service, that mean you will not able to control users. So role should be enabled on the server, that we are going to look how we can install the Active Directory role in the server. User accounts are stored in Active Directory. So all user account will store in Active Directory, and that is manageable centrally. Another difference, domain and workgroup. Domain, a logical group of network objects like computers, users, devices that share the same Active Directory database. Workgroup model, nothing like that. Microsoft term to denote a peer-to-peer local area network. So this is called peer-to-peer local network. And this is centralized. Network administrator uses a server to control all the computer in the domain. So network administrator will use Active Directory to control all the computers plus users plus other network devices in the domain. All computers are peer to, and no computer has control over another computer. Let's see, if I want to manage another computer or another user in the work group, I will not able to do it. I need to visit separately each and every computer to manage or provide security on the computer or user. I will not able to manage centrally. User with an account on the domain can log on to any computer. In Active Directory, if your organization is using domain controller, and there is, let's say you have a five floor, and someday you sit on second, someday you will sit on fourth floor and fifth floor. So every time you will log into different computer, but of course, administrator really don't have to visit any computer to create your user. Once your ID will be created in Active Directory, you are good to log in into any computer which is connected to the same network. So once
In
the
server or
machine,
same network?
same network, I mean,
Mm.
every computer will be on join, every computer will join to the same domain controller.
Okay.
Like I have a one domain controller skilledcareerhub.com. Okay. And
Okay.
all the fifth floor computers is connected to skilled career domain controller. So you
Mm.
can sit anywhere, just put your ID and password and you're good to log in.
Okay. So
Yeah.
here domain controller means like it's like a server or an Active Directory.
Server meaning Active Directory.
Okay, both are same. Okay.
Yeah. So we have Windows Server. That concept we were discussing earlier, that server will have multi-session. Server is multi-session operating system, right?
Yeah.
So when you install the server, no services, no role will be installed by default, because there is a lot of service in the Active Directory in the server, right? You
Mm.
need to enable what service from the server you need to utilize. Like I said, Active Directory. The role is not installed by default. When you install the server operating system, you need to enable or you need to configure this role on the server. By default, nothing is configured in the server. We need to configure based on the what we needed in the organization.
Mm.
So server can be used as a storage device, server can be used as a DHCP, server can be used as a DNS, server can be used as Active Directory, server can be used as a hypervisor. So whatever role you want, you need to configure into the server. Like you are using your server as a, the web development. So you need to enable those roles. Let's say you want to use your server as a FTP, file transfer protocol, where you are saving all the files and people will use that server to access the all the files. Or if you want to make that server as a file server like network drive, so you need to set up everything. Whatever you want to use as a server, we need to set up a role in the server.
Okay. Okay.
Devices can be connected to different local network, meaning the device, let's see, now there is two concept in the server. One is the main server, the forest, first server which installed in the forest, and the second server would be called as a child. Let's say your machine is part of child domain controller, but still you would able to use same ID and you would able to log in into the any machine which is connected to the child domain controller. So we will understand when we will going to, first create an Active Directory, then you will, get come to know how really it works.
Yeah.
When we, learn the theory, you will feel difficulty to understand. But once we, you know,
Yeah.
enable the Active Directory role and we will, connect the client operating system to the domain controller, you will understand the, the way how it works.
Yeah. So when are we going to do that?
Today,
Today? Okay.
yeah. Again, the Active Directory and the workgroup model. Active Directory, centralized network management, single sign-on authentication system, enhance scalability and resource sharing, requires a domain controller. Decentralized network, separate credential for each computer, limited scalability and resource sharing, suited for a small network. So at the first time when I was told you, like, the work group mostly used when you have less than 20 or 30 machine
Mm.
in your organization, right? Maybe if your organization is just 30 people, but you guys are earning a lot and security is a major concern, then in that case, of course, you will, configure the domain controller in your environment.
Yeah.
Depends budget, because of course, If you are going to enable the Active Directory domain controller server license needed, then the people who know how to handle and how to work on the Active Directory, those people need to be higher, right?
Yeah.
So multiple things to be happen when you are moving from work group to domain model.
Okay.
So this is Active Directory, the server. You can call 2016 server or 19 server or 2022 server. So all the server will have the role Active Directory. You just need to configure it, right? So these are the user which is managed from the Active Directory, and these are the devices, network devices. Those also will be managed by the Active Directory. So there would be a full control of this server, so I can do anything. Let's say I want to block this user. I can just delete his account, or maybe I can block, disable this user account. And when user will try to log in into the account, it throws error on the screen that your account is disabled. Connect
Okay.
your administrator.
Mm,
Let's say if this person, the another person is come into the shift like 7 to 4, so I would able to define the timings as well, that these people only can able to log in into the machine using 7 to 4 time.
mm,
So everything or anything you would able to manage through this Active Directory. Not only the user, but you will also able to control the computer, the laptop, the printer,
mm.
everything which is connected to domain. You would able to manage through Active Directory.
Okay.
Yeah. Domain user, Active Directory user, centralized user ID will be create on Active Directory in workgroup model, not centralized. Technician need to create users on each computer, so we need to visit each and every
And
computer to
every time.
create a
Okay.
user ID. But here
Mm,
we don't. User can log into any device in the network. So whatever device is connected to domain controller, user can able to log in. So user people or technician really don't have to visit the machine to create a user and ask user to log in. So this is not like that in the domain controller. User only can able to log in into a specific device. I mean, if you have a group model and your ID is created in just one computer, and that machine have problem today, so you will not able to log in.
mm.
So technician have to visit the another machine which is free, and your ID need to be created over there, and after that you would able to log in into the machine in work group model.
Yeah.
Administrator can revoke, grant the permission centrally in domain control model. So I can revoke your access, I can give you permission, I can disable your account, I can set up your timing, I can provide policy, what you can access, what you don't. So anything or everything about the GPO, the group policy, I can able to assign through centrally. GPO concept is not there in work group model, so there is no GPO
Okay.
for the user. So GPO, of course, you can able to create GPO, but each computer will have separate GPO in the work group model. So that again, that is not centralized. Admin can manage the access centrally based on user role using GPO. Let's say we have 10 team in the organization. One is back office, one is IT, one is virtualization, one is trading. So there is multiple teams should be there in the organization, and they would require different kind of accessing the network resources. So based on the role, we would able to create a group policy, and we will link the policy to the OU, the organization unit, and we will put all the user based on the role, and from there we can able to manage user access on the Active Directory domain controller. In workgroup model, admin will unable to manage users access because there is no group policy in workgroup model. So, like I said, I need to visit each and every computer to manage the policy. Let's see, I really don't want to give you access on YouTube.
Mm,
So, I need to visit this particular machine, and I need to go to the group policy. and I will put the like the youtube.com, and I will disable the URL. So we will not able to, even using router we can able to do it, but usually the access is managed through the group policy as well. Or this is depend also policy company to company. Many people are, blocking. That is called, blocking or whitelisting. So if somebody want to open the port for particular website, they need to request for accessing the website, and that request go to the firewall team. So firewall team will manage whether the site is safe or not to give access or to provide access to the users. So website access is managed through the firewall team as well, or through the GPU as well. That depends on organization to organization how it is. DNS. DNS stand for Domain Name System, which is protocol that translate human readable domain names into the IP address and that computers can use. DNS allows user to type domain names into their browser like google.com instead of having to remember the IP address for each site. So DNS is beautiful concept, where you can see you really don't have to type IP address of the website, and people cannot remember. Like if I want to give you uh, the IP address of my machine 10.10.113.10s,
Mm.
and I have 100 device, right? So you will not able to remember. So what DNS will do,
Yeah.
DNS will convert the IP address into the naming system, and from naming system to IP address. Example, Chrome. Let me open the Chrome. Like I had typed here google.com. But of course, this is the IP address. The DNS convert into the IP address.
Mm.
If I go to the command and I will typing google.com, I will get the answer from this address, right? 142. So
Mm.
google.com will have the IP address of this. This is the IP address of Google. If I type here, come on, google.com will be come up because that
Okay.
is the IP address of Google.
Mm.
But people cannot remember these numbers. That's what we have DNS in the IT. How it works. DNS server translate domain names into IP address, which browser used to load web page. Why it is important? DNS allows user to connect to website without having to memorize IP address. How it distributed? DNS mapping is distributed throughout the internet in a hierarchy of authority. So not every company will have, the authority of managing the DNS. Like uh, you want to use your company DNS name like xyz.com. So you need to publish that website over the internet, and not all company have that kind of authority. So like you have godaddy.com, you have hostinger.com, right? So these website, when you need some the website, you need to uh, go there in and you to choose the website. You cannot pick up any name. If you want to pick up like any name, whatever you would like, you cannot do that, because it should be available, or it should not be duplicate between different domain name system. So that should be unique. So that's what we have, the organization who manage the DNS. You here you will understand little bit uh, how really DNS work. So this is your computer. When you typing https colon double slash www example.com, so computer will go to company or local DNS checked and the requested address is not found. Let's say you type this address. So in your local DNS cache, means your operating system DNS cache, it will look for this name. If not found, this will goes to ISP DNS check. If again that is not there, then it will go to root. Root server will have all the DNS name, all the worldwide name. I mean, every DNS record this root server will have, and it is managed by different organization, not more than 20, I guess. And there is link. We are going to look at how many organization who manage this root DNS. Then once the DNS name, the name you typed, received, I mean that is checked, then you will get the here. Computer receive IP address and prompts the browser to open the given address. So how DNS work? So this is how it works.
Okay. But we can't see all these, right? It's just buffer, right? It's not
Yeah, we
loading
can't
here.
say it right. This is just a logical. We
Yeah.
can't say it.
Mm,
Yeah. DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, is a network protocol that automatic assign IP address and other configuration information to devices on a network. DHCP is a client server protocol that works by allowing host to obtain configuration information from a DHCP server. When it is mentioned host, this meaning your client computer or client server. It could be Windows, Linux, Mac, your Android, any operating system host. Okay.
okay.
DHCP benefits. Automatic assignment. DHCP automatic assign IP address to devices, eliminating the need for manual configuration by network administrator. So this is dynamic host configuration protocol where the IP will be given to your devices automatic. You really don't have to put the IP address to your devices manually. You don't. So DHCP server will give the IP address to your machine. Like we have a router, home router. So home router also will have the DHCP functionality. That's what your machine get the IP address from the router. If that is not there, you will not get the IP address, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know, I can open this one, how it looks like. So this is my router. Okay, if I go here, DHCP, so this router have the this service DHCP enabled. So whatever IP address range I will choose here, those same IP address will be given to my machine, right? So you can able to configure. No duplicates address. DHCP include a mechanism to check for duplicates address and will not be knowingly lease duplicate address. So if you typing manually and other people will type same the IP address, and there would be a conflict, and maybe you will not able to access, or maybe your colleague will not able to access the internet because you both have the same IP address. So using DHCP, there would be no duplicates address will be given to the client. Simplified management. DHCP simplifies IP address management, which can save money, increase security, and save admin time. So DHCP role is DHCP will have like the lease period. Like I can set up like your machine will release the IP address after 2 or 3 hours, and you will get the new IP address assigned to your device. So that is kind of security. Let's say if hacker got your IP address, and he's trying to access your device, laptop or desktop or the mobile, and using the IP address, and suddenly after 2 hours your IP address is changed. So that is little bit kind of security, but I can't say much. But of course, this is some of security, which is good functionality in the DHCP, that you have a lease time setup. You can set up the lease time where your machine can release the IP address and will get the new IP address assigned to the client device. DHCP also assigns other configuration parameters such as domain name system, DNS address, subnet mask, and default gateway. So using DHCP, also I can able to manage the DNS IP address and the subnet mask and the gateway like here. So least time I have set up like this. I can set from 1 minute to 280 right? So I have set up max because I really don't have anything on my machine that I should be care of it. So nothing is there. I can set up the DNS server. So this is my Active Directory address. So I set up here. So you can able to set DNS server, then gateway. This is my gateway, and this is the least time I can able to set up in DHCP. Same thing will come on the DNS DHCP server on the server side, where we can able to configure these things on the server as well.
Okay.
So how it looks like DHCP, how your machine get the IP address when your machine is powered on, how it works, how you really get the IP address. This will not move up. I mean, this. Okay. Discover. The first option is discover. The DHCP client broadcast a message to find a DHCP server and request an IP address. So DHCP client, where it is located in your machine. It could be Windows, Linux, Mac, or your Android phone, or the Apple phone. So any device which need the IP address, that will have the client DHCP. That is called client DHCP. Okay, and
Mhm.
there should be a server DHCP. So once your machine is powered on, it looks for the DHCP server, discover, here to here. You can see the arrow here. So this
Yeah.
client will look for the DHCP server. The DHCP client broadcast a message to find a DHCP server and request an IP address. So once your machine will power on, it will look for the DHCP asking for give me the IP address, give me the IP address. So once the DHCP server will receive a request, it will offer a IP address. So this DHCP server will offer a IP address to a client. So how? The DHCP server respond with an IP address with lease period. Okay, so this DHCP server will offer. That is not yet completed. That is at the moment right now. The DHCP server is offering a IP address to this client request. The client chooses an IP address and sends a message to confirm the selection. So once client requests, yeah, give me the IP address, I'm okay with it, then server will acknowledge. The DHCP server acknowledges the request and finalize the IP address for the assignment. So this is final state. So there is four stages, and that is called DORA process. Discover, offer, request, acknowledge. This usually comes in interview. What is DORA process?
Okay.
Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. Discover, the DHCP client broadcast a message to find a DHCP server and request an IP address. Offer, the DHCP server respond with the IP address with lease period. Request, the client choose an IP address and send a message to confirm the selections. Confirm these selections meaning the IP address of the selections. Acknowledgement, the DHCP server acknowledge the request and finalize the IP address assignment. All right, what we have next?